Hello and welcome to Eyes on Carnivore. My name is Sean and recently I had my 2-year carniversary. Yay! And yeah, I've learned a lot in the past 2 years, I can tell you. And today we're going to learn a little bit more. Let's find out about what lectins can do to you.
Gluten is the protein found in flour when you take all the starch away. If we wash the dough of all its starch, we can actually distill the wheat down, minus the water, minus the starch, and what we're left with is pure gluten. Not a bioweapon, just harmless flour protein. Then eat it. Yeah, all right.
What if I told you that some of the healthiest foods we're told to eat, whole grains, beans, tomatoes, might actually be harming us? In this video, we're diving into a group of plant proteins called lectins. These aren't just passive nutrients, they're biologically active compounds that interact with your gut, your immune system, and maybe even your brain and eyes. Their effects on human health are real, measurable, and potentially dangerous, especially in the modern diet. So let's unpack what the science really says about lectins and why you might want to think twice before reaching for that superfood salad. Lectins are carbohydrate-binding proteins found in many plant foods, particularly in grains, legumes, nightshades, and even some dairy. Think of them as the plant's natural defense system, evolved over millennia to deter predators, including us, from eating them. Unlike simple toxins that just upset the stomach, many lectins are remarkably resistant to enzymatic digestion across a wide pH range. This means they survive cooking and your digestive tract, remaining biologically active. Once inside you, they can bind to gut cells, interfere with nutrient absorption, mess with immune signaling, and compromise the structural integrity of your gut lining. One of the most cited papers on this is titled Lectins in Food: Their Importance in Health and Disease. It outlines how lectins can resist digestion, interact with the gut lining, and may even enter the bloodstream, triggering immune responses by activating inflammatory pathways like NF-kappa B and the NLRP3 inflammasome. A good example is wheat germ agglutinin, WGA, a lectin found in wheat that can bind to human cells and mimic insulin. Others, like phytohemagglutinin in red kidney beans, can cause serious gastrointestinal distress if the beans aren't cooked properly. Here's a list of common lectin-containing foods: wheat, rye, barley, oats, beans, lentils, chickpeas, peanuts, tomatoes, capsicum, eggplants, potatoes, corn, quinoa, soy, cashews, almonds, some dairy, especially from grain-fed animals. Personally, I avoid dairy for this reason, especially processed or homogenized types. And while tomatoes and peppers are technically low carb, I've found they cause joint pain, especially in my left wrist. That alone was enough of a red flag for me. What about you? Do you notice symptoms from any of these foods? Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear what you've experienced. Lectins are sticky. They bind to tissues in your body, especially in the gut. They're known to attach to the villi and microvilli of the small intestine, flattening them out and impairing nutrient absorption. This can lead to inflammation and the loosening of tight junctions between gut cells, a condition referred to as leaky gut. Key proteins like zonulin and components like gliadin from gluten are known to trigger this permeability. When the gut barrier fails, lectins and other particles can slip through, entering the bloodstream and triggering immune responses far from the gut. Dr. Anthony Chaffee suggests autoimmune conditions may not be a case of a confused immune system, but a reasonable response to foreign proteins like lectins that are stuck to our own cells. That's how a misdirected immune attack begins. Once in the bloodstream, lectins can bind to various tissues, mimicking natural molecules and setting off chain reactions. They've been implicated in a wide range of diseases, from inflammatory bowel diseases like Crohn's and ulcerative colitis to systemic conditions like rheumatoid arthritis, psoriasis, multiple sclerosis, and type 1 diabetes. The dose makes the poison, but low-level chronic exposure may be just as dangerous, especially for people with gut sensitivity, autoimmune conditions, or metabolic issues. Even small amounts can be the tipping point. Some of the lectins most commonly studied include WGA, wheat germ agglutinin, PHA, phytohymagglutinin in beans, concanavalin, A from jack beans, soybean agglutinin, peanut agglutinin. These aren't just food components. In lab settings, they're used to trigger immune responses, cause cell clumping, or simulate inflammatory disease models. That should raise an eyebrow. The effects of lectins go far beyond digestion. People report brain fog and fatigue. WGA can mimic insulin, impairing energy utilization, and may damage the blood-brain barrier. Vision problems. This is a big one. There's growing interest in the gut-eye axis. The idea that gut inflammation and microbiome disruption may influence eye health. The research paper we cited earlier links lectin exposure to damage that could contribute to glaucoma, and even references retinitis, though it's acknowledged that RP is primarily genetic. Still, the link between gut-derived inflammation and diseases like macular degeneration, uveitis, and diabetic retinopathy is worth taking seriously. From the paper's conclusion, lectins resist digestion in the gastrointestinal tract and retain their biological activity. They can bind to epithelial cells of the intestine and interact with the gut-associated lymphoid tissue and the gut microflora, affecting the immune system and the balance of the microflora. Lectins can cause alterations in the immune system and inflammation, which may be associated with diseases such as diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, celiac disease, and even eye conditions like retinitis. That's not some obscure blog post. That's published, peer-reviewed science. You'll often hear that proper preparation, soaking, boiling, sprouting, fermenting, deactivates most of the harmful compounds in plants. And yes, that's partly true, but there's a reason these foods have to be prepared carefully in the first place. Lectins are that dangerous when raw. Here's the issue. Even after proper preparation, not all the lectins are destroyed, and these preparation techniques are increasingly absent in modern processing. Most people eating beans or whole grains today aren't soaking or fermenting them for 3 days before boiling them for an hour. And here's the deeper truth. Humans don't need these foods to thrive. You don't need to jump through hoops with special preparation rituals. An all-meat elimination diet that's high in bioavailable nutrients is enough for the human body to thrive without the risk of introducing plant-based toxins in the first place. Let me ask you this, as parents, are we really willing to take that risk with our children? If there's credible scientific evidence that lectins, found in the everyday foods we're told are healthy, can trigger inflammation, autoimmune issues, gut damage, and even contribute to diseases like type 1 diabetes or retinitis, why are we still feeding them to our kids? Lectins aren't fringe. They're active, potent biological compounds, and the science doesn't say they might cause harm. It says they do, especially in sensitive individuals. You don't need to be a doctor or scientist to understand what's at stake. Just look around. Allergies, IBS, chronic fatigue, skin issues, mental fog, autoimmune disorders. These are no longer rare. They're normalized. Maybe it's not your child's immune system that's broken. Maybe it's reacting exactly how it should. To foreign proteins the body was never meant to process. Be responsible for yourself and your family. Do your research. On this channel, we've curated playlists covering plant defense chemicals, anti-nutrients, and how to get started with a carnivore or elimination-based diet. If you're not sure where to begin, start there. And if you're stuck in a cycle of symptoms with no answers, maybe it's time to stop asking what to add to your diet and start asking what to take away. Okay, so I learned a lot from that, and I hope you did too. If you want to learn more, check out the playlists on the channel. There's a lot of playlists there. Sorry, I've been really busy, and they're all curated by myself. I've checked them all out. I've watched all the videos. There's probably thousands of them by now. So yeah, if you like the content, please hit the like button, hit the notification bell, make it ring a ding ding. And if you like the content, please come back again. Please, please. Please like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll catch you in the next one.